Hey guys, what's up? This is Pants Our Dragon, and today we'll be going over the concepts of when to Baron and when not to Baron. This video will be going over plenty of examples with the recent games I've had, and basically I'll be going over examples and explaining why it's a good idea to Baron right now, and just analyzing the clip, or say we'll be doing something else instead of Baron and going over that. And this video is to show you to help you decision making on when to Baron and when not to Baron. And so it kind of seeps into your mind if you know what I mean. Now, things that I consider when doing Baron is how much levels we have, do we have the damage, do we have the tank, do we have vision control, how far is the enemy away from us, how much people are down on the enemy team, is the enemy jungler up, which all adds up to the question, can the enemy contest and get the Baron, or teamfight us? You know, there's lots of things to consider, and that's why I'm going over certain examples, whether it's good or not to do Baron. Alright, so in this clip, as you can see, there's a team fight that's going on, and it looks like our team is going to win. And, well, we do win. Now, let's pause right here and analyze the situation. Okay, so we're all low from the team fight, and they have 3 up, but they're also low. Does this mean we can Baron? The answer is no. Simply put it, we're just too low to tank the Baron, and if they engage in us while the Baron is attacking us, then we'll all, die. Even though we have the damage and tanks to do it, there's just simply too much threat from the enemy team to kill us and ace us while we're doing Baron. Alright, so next clip, we get a pick onto Kha'Zix, and we're all full health except for me. And we're all in that late game stage, we have lots of items. Does this mean we Baron? Nope, too much threat on the enemy, they still have their carries up, and they can definitely win a team fight if we started Baron. So what do we do instead? We try and get vision control of the Baron, which means clear the wards around the Baron pit, and so if the enemy comes into the unwarded territory, there's a chance that they can get picked off, and we get the first strike onto them. That's why vision control is important, because the first strike always matters. Alright, so now, Jarvan and Karthus gets a pick onto Nami. Does this mean we Baron? The answer is yes. Finally, it's a 3v5, and the enemy is at a disadvantage since they don't have vision of the Baron pit. So it's actually really hard for the enemy to find a good engage onto us. And since the enemy smite is down, there's no way the enemy could steal this away from me, unless I suck at smiting. And since we can burn it so quickly, the Baron won't be doing that much damage to us, and so we can definitely win the teamfight if they try to come onto us. Without their 4th, it's just too much for them to handle. Alright, so the other clips may be obvious to some experienced players that you would do it in those situations, but let's get into a clip that's very interesting, as given the stats right now, it is very unlikely that someone would ever make this call. Okay, so we've just won a team fight, and the call I make is the Baron. Now you might be wondering, this call looks very risky and like highly unlikely that would happen, as there are 4 enemies still up, but let's go through what's going through my mind. So first of all, since they're all so low, the enemy will want to recall and go to base. This is what I'm going to predict, but even if they didn't come and recall and contest the Baron, they'd probably get picked off by a member of the team. I have a pink ward for the Baron pit, so the enemy has to be a bit hesitant when coming into the pit. And the enemy's teleport top laner is down, so she can't teleport in and kill us all. Take note that when a team has no vision of the area around the Baron pit, that is something that should be considered really highly valuable when contesting Baron. And even though this is at like 18 minutes, it doesn't matter, we have the damage, we have the tank, aka Poppy, and we can definitely take it down before the enemy recalls and comes back to contest it when they're all full hit point. Alright, so in this clip, there's going to be a team fight and we basically almost get an ace. As you can see, Ahri and Zed are dead while Nunu is really chunked, and previously Lucian and Thresh were dead, but they just spawned. So since Nunu is really chunked, I don't think he can make it in time before we can burn Baron with Yasuo and Kog'Maw. So we can definitely do it, and the only 2 people who can contest us is Lucian and Thresh, which isn't really enough strength. But now Yasuo is dead, and now we have a new situation. Okay, so since Zed and Ahri are dead, the only one who can contest us at Baron is Thresh right now. Nunu still has to recall to get back to that full hit point, but we're lacking damage since Yasuo has died, and the only thing Kog'Maw has is Triforce. So, can we do it? The answer is no. We have a risk, and that risk is we probably won't burn it in time before Nunu gets there, since we don't have the damage to burn Baron down. So that's why getting this tower is better than risking Baron. Alright, so as you can see, a team fight emerges and we do get 4 kills out of it. So, it looks like a pretty good opportunity to do Baron. But an inhibitor tower and an inhibitor is worth more than a Baron, because with those super minions pushing in, you do have more map control, thus you can do more things around the map. Although in lower ELOs, I do prefer getting Baron over inhibitor towers because people tend to throw more. And if people are looking towards the throw in lower ELOs, then maybe they can make the big play since they do have the superpowers onto them. Also in this clip, the more closer objective is the inhibitor, so usually when you shock call you want to go to the closest objective that's nearby you, so that's something to consider when, shock calling a bit. Alright, so in this clip we do get a pick on Nunu, and it's kinda mid and late game-ish, and we do have a lot of damage to burst down Baron. Now is it a good idea to do Baron right after getting this pick on just one person? Well, for sure, we do have a lot of damage, Kog'Maw and Yasuo. Our lanes are pushing in, which means map pressure, and the enemy has to come all the way to Baron or give up that juicy CS, and might not even get it since we do have probably pinks and vision control around it. So even at this mid game and late game stage, all you need is one pick to start Baron, as you can definitely burn it down really quick at this stage. And also do take note of how far the enemies are from Baron. As you can see, the same thing happens in this clip. We get a pick, and then right after we get some vision control onto the Baron and then start it, since we have the damage from Aurelia, Kha'Zix, and Tristana, and a tank to tank it. So even if the enemy wants to teamfight this one, it probably won't go so well since Riven has most of their gold on their team, and it'd actually be different if she was alive versus a Janna being dead, and they could probably contest Baron with us on it. So even though numbers do matter, always take into consideration which person is dead. Alright, so everyone's come across the losing side and doing a desperate Baron. In all honesty, when doing a desperate Baron, you have to outmaneuver the enemy. This means like sneaking the Baron with a pink ward on it, or just doing it when the enemy can't get there in time. So in this clip, I do see that they're going to go for Dragon, and since most of the enemies were low after that team fight, they're probably going to recall. So I say, hey, since they're recalling, we should probably go on Baron and try and get it and burst it down before the enemy comes. So since I know that they're recalling from Dragon, and then we go straight to Baron right after, we can definitely get it and then try and run away from the enemy team. So these Barons are like the most trickiest to do since they're so risky, but it's definitely rewarding if you're on the losing side. And in this game, I probably wouldn't do it, but the exceptional case is that if we stall out the game more, then we'll probably lose since Nasus and Kog'Maw make up their late game, as Aurelia and Corki don't scale as well as them. So the way I saw it was, if we didn't get this Baron or like some kind of lead, then we'll probably lose at 50 minutes if it goes that far. So that's when I usually do a desperate Baron, is if I think we're going to lose late game and we're losing and we need some sort of advantage to get back into the game. Unless we have the better late game, I prefer to do some risky plays. Anyways, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and learned a lot. If you haven't already, click that subscribe-erino button, and if you actually like the video, press that like-erino button down there. Now, 2 other videos I will be coming out with is When Should You Dragon, which will be the same format, and What to Do with the Lead, which is basically what do you do when you have Baron or have a huge lead, and giving some prime examples. Anyway, I am Panther Dragon, and I will see you guys next time.